Okay, hello and welcome to Game Raiders. We're going to be talking about some video game news, and today I actually have a co-host who should be a regular co-host as we go on with the series. So everyone, I would like to welcome to the show Captain J Pug himself.
I also go by JPug and Mortiverse, but Mortiverse is a more rare one.
Well, welcome to the show.
Very happy to be here.
So today we only really have three main topics to talk about, and I feel like you definitely are going to have a lot to say about a couple of these because I know you're a pretty big fan of all the cool stuff. Like for instance, first one we're going to talk about, and as everyone will know, all of the articles that I'm going to be talking about are going to be in the description below. First one up is from Business Insider, talking about a news article from the Wall Street Journal, because I'm not going to sign up to read right off of that website.
Oh, hell no.
Nintendo planning on releasing a new version of the Switch next year. Now, what's kind of... I mean, it's originally came out in 2017 now. So
yeah, it only came out like early last year, didn't it?
How many Xbox Ones do we now have?
Okay, yeah.
Exactly.
And how many PlayStations we got now and stuff?
Exactly. You know, but it is really nice. What we have here is a new LCD panel is supposedly going to be the big part of it because we've seen with the iPhone X how LCD screens have hit a point to where they can be completely glare free, completely crisp.
Yeah, when you kind of give that matte over top of it.
Yeah,
it really keeps the glare off of it.
So with these new panels, we should be able to have a brighter display, an improved battery, and an even slimmer profile on the Switch.
Oh, dang.
Which, I mean, it's already pretty slim as is, but, getting thinner, we might run into issues with it possibly bending or something along that, but,
oh my god, could you imagine another bend gate for fucking Switches? Seeing people try and bend those and just breaking them constantly.
It would be horrible, but,
It wouldn't be the first thing that we had go wrong with the Switch, with everybody eating the cartridges when it first came out.
that
whole console is just weird.
Yeah, no, I mean that's also the people, but no, it's interesting. It's interesting with it. Was it Nintendo Switches? Was it as of this news article? They had just hit about a little shy of 20 million units sold.
Dang.
And it was originally released in March of 2017, and we're looking that this one should be hitting hopefully late 2019, possibly.
Probably around the holiday season, do you think?
Somewhere between late summer, early spring, possibly, going into that winter craze.
Yeah.
Because that was usually the big mark, is around November was when things usually hit. So I guess
that's when a lot of the games start coming out.
So we'll kind of see. But what I'd love to see with that new panel, perhaps we get all across the board on games 1080p on portable version. Because I know, was it Xenoverse 2 is 720p on portable, which, I mean, makes sense when they're trying to cram all of that stuff that's happening into that, the smaller screen and whatnot. But, hopefully, along with that screen, a better processor
to
handle
this
it.
From Nintendo, but I'm hoping that they would be willing to jump it up to be able to, at least when you have the console plugged into a TV, to do 4K, because I know that's a huge thing with all the other consoles right now.
Right, but at the same time, definitely with Nintendo, that's going to be an issue, because I mean, when has Nintendo ever actually been on the forefront?
They're always it feels like a generation and a half behind when it comes to the resolution of their games.
The Wii was a 720p console. That was along fighting the Xbox 360 and the PS3, which both had full 1080p support. It's definitely they have a lot to make up, but at the same time, they've hit that market that the other twos just cannot hit with the portability, and
Oh yeah, it's definitely convenient. I wish I had one so I could go out and use it. I would use it at work all the time.
they are just that good.
My best friend, he just got one.
But yeah, but no, it's going to be nice to see, and as we get closer to time, hopefully we'll everything gets leaked eventually nowadays, so hopefully we'll find out
100%.
more what's coming out of it besides just what the Wall Street was able to say between the hardware and supposedly some new software features as well, maybe a chat room.
I didn't even know they didn't have that. That's surprising that they don't have something like that.
To use their voice, they do have a VoIP, but it's through the Nintendo Companion app that you get on your phone. So it's definitely...
It's just needlessly complex.
Yeah. So, it's definitely one of those things. But, so, as we move on, did you ever have a old school PlayStation? Did you have a PlayStation 1?
I didn't, but I had this one girl that I was really close with. Like, our parents were best friends, and I was over at her house, and she would always have Spyro on her PS1, and I just have so many fond memories with that console, even if I didn't get to own one. The first console I ever got to own was, I think, a Nintendo 64.
Okay, yeah, no, it's... Yeah, no. My dad was able to keep me somewhat updated in the cultured times. I had a PS1, a PS2. Before that, I was more of a Nintendo player, and that's kind of dropped off is when I switched over to the PlayStations. But so it's funny that you said Spyro because, of course, the PlayStation Classic. Sony trying to capitalize on what Nintendo did first. And
what do you mean?
So Nintendo released the classic, the NES Classic and the SNES Classic. So they did,
this. Okay, I see where you're going.
Yeah, so they've done both of those. They had a fabulous library on them. They even gave us in the SNES, what was it, Star Fox 2, a game that was...
I believe so, yeah.
No, it was not released to us originally, and now we got it. And so then Sony's like, okay, let's try it. So, you would think that Spyro would be on the PlayStation Classic,
right.
But it's not.
I think I saw the game lineup, and wasn't there, nothing on it?
So, 20 games that you got, out of which, ones that I owned when I had a PlayStation. Let's see here. Final Fantasy VII, Grand Theft Auto, Metal Gear Solid, Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, Resident Evil, and Tekken. Games.
So it does have a lot more than I thought.
So games that my buddies had. I've played Twisted Metal originally. I played Rainbow Six. Things like that. But then you get games like Cool Borders 2, Intelligent Cube, Jumping Flash, Mr. Driller.
Oh, that's just very suggestive.
Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo.
I gotta look up these PlayStation Mini.
Yeah, the PlayStation Classic. So, not only does it have kind of a iffy list, it had a couple of good ones, but none of the true staples to the PlayStation. There's no Crash, there's no Spyro. Why? Because they're doing HD re-releases of them. So it's
yeah.
Was it Buddy Mine?
Still, it would be nice to be able to have that nostalgia of playing the original versions, or unless they plan on putting out some kind of patch on those HD re-releases where it's basically a port of the original games and you can kind of switch it back and forth in the style. Some game did that recently? I can't
The
remember what it was.
Halo did it with the
Yes.
Master Chief Collection, and I
That's what it
remember
was.
I was playing that actually in my dorm with one of my buddies and constantly just hitting the select button, constantly
Is that
swapping.
what would make it switch?
If I remember correctly, it was the select button, but it would just constantly palette swapping it from the old gen to new gen, and it was pretty seamless. So that would be interesting, but you know, buddy
it
of
would
mine,
just be kind of a way for people to get those classic versions of the games.
yeah,
And then still get these random weird ones on here. If you liked those games, maybe there's some people out there that are stoked that freaking Ridge Racer Type 4 is on here.
right. But then,
Or
so
Super Puzzle Fighter 2.
yeah, so Turbo. Don't forget, it's the Turbo edition. But here's the big thing. Here's the big thing about it. So you're a big PC player like me. So all the PlayStation Classic is a motherboard that runs PSX.
Is that like an emulator for
It-
PlayStation games?
It is the #1 emulator for PlayStation games.
Oh my god.
All it is essentially like a Raspberry Pi style board running just a single application on it with 20 games installed on it. That's all it is. Now, PSX doesn't have a very good UI. So, you know, comparing to like the NES Classic and the SNES Classic, where Nintendo made a UI, it made a thing to store, to show the games, to show the
Yeah.
list. You know, they put a lot of effort into it. And then PlayStation, they kind of take just this
They
half-assed.
cheaped out like hardcore.
Yeah, they pretty much did just this half-assed attempt
They
at
just
this.
threw something together.
Yeah, and it's almost sad to look at because like it looks nice. It looks like the original blocky PlayStation that can just fit in your hand. But under the hood and with it, you're not getting much for it. And that's definitely included with that big price tag. It was, when it came out on December 3rd, $99.99 for that console. US, of course. You nailed.
$100 for these 20 games. I could probably find an emulator on PC to play all these games for free.
You could get PSX and just play them. Yes, it's
Exactly.
hilarious. But you don't have to pay $99.99 anymore because Sony cut an chunk just off of the console. You can now pick it up.
I just was looking at it. I see
You can
it.
now pick it up for $60 because it's so bad and people weren't buying them that now they have to get rid of their stock. Once again,
That's embarrassing.
going back to, Nintendo, they've sold out of both of the consoles numerous times because not only
actually put the effort in.
they put effort in and they only made so many of them to start. Sony most likely made a big old batch and now
Oh yeah, they were probably so confident in this thing.
they have to sit while they wait for them to sell. And it's just hilarious that
So ironic in a way.
you get what as the music I'm referring back to on this, you get what you were told. You get a PlayStation that plays 20 games. You get no frills, no extras, and definitely seems like there was no care on PlayStation when they were
No.
designing this. And so
No,
definitely
Not at all.
it is worth probably more to find a yard sale that's selling these games so you can then have your physical copy, just to have a physical copy of it and emulate the game. So,
Oh my god, there's so many video game stores out around us that just sell these insanely old games. You
yeah.
could probably find any of these games easy.
Yeah, it's definitely a sad day to see that PlayStation really just didn't try, and it clearly shows.
Sony was pouring all their money into making sure that Spider-Verse was of quality.
That is, yeah. So, but And then, so this came from news articles from Polygon on that. And like I said, all of these articles will be down in the description. And now on to the third topic, and what has to be the thing that really brings me here today.
Is this the one you informed me of beforehand?
Yes, because...
Okay, because I got an article right here, and oh my god. It's so cringe-inducingly amazing.
Soldier Boy is selling his own game console, but it's not even his own. Yeah. So if you want to talk about this a little bit from what you found.
How much do you know about this? Did you see the news that came out about it today?
Oh no, there was something actually today. This is breaking news. Okay. What you got for me?
Oh, this came out at like 12:30 today. The game console is not available anymore. It's already gone. Here. Okay. So I've got where is it? Okay. In a since deleted offensive tweet, Soldier, I love how nobody calls him by his name, everyone just calls him Soldier, wrote, "For anyone that thinks Nintendo is going to sue me, you're retarded. Nothing's going to happen. Everything is legit. My console ain't going anywhere, trust me." A day later, he concluded, "I had to boss up. I didn't have a choice."
Oh, man.
Apparently this console claimed that you would be able to play Switch games, 3DS, Vita, Neo Geo, Game Boy Color, Game Boy, and Game Boy Advance.
So, yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. And so I saw that 3,000 different games, all among all of these portable consoles. I actually saw one of these consoles before, our friend Soldier slapped his name on it.
Like you saw it in person, like at a store out here?
It wasn't in a store, but I try to keep up on these fake consoles because they're hilarious to look at.
Oh, they are.
So, yeah, so this one came across. I saw someone look at it, do a review on it, look through the games. It's about 10 super knocked off games, and then copied and palette swapped about 1,000 times. So,
yeah, I haven't seen like what the games look like that are on this thing. I know they're all fake, but
yeah. So this console, this console here. Oh, that's kind of interesting. It was originally, it's a Chinese knockoff that it goes through the back alleys that you'd be able to buy and things like that. And of course, he was told that these were what the games, what type of games would be played. But in all actuality, yeah, it's all of them are pretty much games, horrible knockoffs, so that way they
like
can't,
Chinese bootleg versions of all the games.
So that way they can't be taken down for it. On the box they might display things like that. Like actually, I did see one, not this particular model, but a different one in a store, a secondhand store around here, and it was interesting to see it because on the box it looks like an Xbox One, like a small Xbox One. And on the box, the games that they were showing was Mario, Crash Bandicoot, FIFA, like big games that under no circumstances.
Yeah, I'm trying to find like a picture of the box or something.
Yeah, so it's very clearly not anything that would be able to be played on this thing because it's got about the power of like a Commodore 64.
Yeah, looking at this thing, it's clearly not made of high quality materials.
No, not at all. And
also look at the freaking screen on it. It's a 4x3 screen.
Yep.
What HD games are you playing on this thing?
Exactly. So, and that's the big thing with these Chinese knockoffs is that they all try to say like, hey, we can play all these games. In all actuality, they say that just because it hooks you into buying it. So, but it's also interesting. So, supposedly, not only was he releasing that handheld that had the 3,000 games, but
I'm literally looking right at it, right as you're
yeah.
about to say it.
Yeah, there was a console as well, like a regular console.
That he announced on his Fortnite stream.
Yeah, that he was also going to be, having as well. And I just think it's hilarious. You probably can still find it somewhere, the handheld for about $60. Because that's what the Chinese knockoff originally sold for. He then slaps his name on it and was charging an additional $40.
He was charging $100 for this tiny little block
for a piece of plastic that pretty much is not even worth its weight. So it's real interesting to kind of see things like that. But
oh god,
but yeah.
It's such a disaster.
Right. And so yes, no, definitely. And that news article I pulled up was from The Verge. Now, while I have you here, there's one other topic I do want to talk about real quick, somewhat briefly. I've been kind of following the hype around Red Dead Redemption 2. And
I know a lot of people love that.
There's a part of the game that really interests me. And that has to do with how accurate they are with their motion capture. And more particularly, strapping the motion capture stuff to the ball sacks of horses.
Do they actually do this?
From what I see, this is how that's like how they did it. I
need to clarify this.
Because I mean,
amazing.
have you seen the part? So.
Okay, here we go. The story. Oh yeah, this is on Polygon. Dang.
So. Yeah. It's one thing is that your horse in the game will poop.
Oh my gosh.
And
why am I not playing this?
And in cold weather, their testicles will shrink.
Why?
Now.
Why? Oh my god, there's actually a video here.
So
of the horse all geared up in its motion capture dots.
So it's definitely it's I'm sorry. News article titled Red Dead Redemption 2 devs promise they care more about people than horse testicles. But it's just something about it that's like, okay, you were too busy asking whether you could to stop and ask whether you should.
I need to see this article because there's no way this is real. Send me this article.
Okay, let me find it.
I am so invested in this.
Yeah. Yep. So, gosh. Here actually, should be a video of the ball shrinking in action. Of course, I'm not gonna put this on my.
Yeah, you can link the video down below, but
I'm gonna put it.
I'll watch it, and you guys can see my reaction and determine whether or not you want to watch it.
Here's a video of IGN talking about this matter, the physics of it, because it's just great. But yeah, so definitely the fact that they did this, that it just shows how good the game is. And so, I definitely plan on getting it sometime soon. Once I figure out whether or not I am getting a PS4, because I know a lot of people are wanting me to get one to play with them while, PC Master Race is...
Plus, I think the PlayStation 5 is supposed to be announced next year.
Yeah, which means PS4s should hopefully drop in price.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
But, I think we've rambled on enough about stuff. And so I want to thank you for tuning into this first episode of Game Raiders. And
Wait. People need to know if this fucking ball thing is real.
I mean...
and I can confirm it is.
Yeah, so... There you go. Enjoy the fact...
Perfect note to end on.
If you're playing Red Dead 2, look at your horse, take him out in the cold, and watch them balls shrivel up. But with that, once again, I'm K-Thor, this was J-Pug, and this was Game Raiders. Thanks for watching.